Will the Steelers draft Malik Willis? This is Jeff Bell here with a Football Guys short. Make sure to follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/football guys, where you can find the Audible, our short videos, and other content. In 2021, the Pittsburgh Steelers ran one of the most simple offenses in the NFL. It was great for fantasy production, terrible for actual offensive production. They relied heavily on inside zone because a lack of the offensive line did not allow the running back to get to the edge, to stretch defenses. Because that wasn't available, they weren't able to run any play action as well. You had defenses creeping inside, pinching inside. The reality is they had the shortest pass pocket time in the league at 2.2 seconds. And there's 6.7 intended air yards. That's how far they wanted the ball to go when they threw it. It was only 6.7, the second lowest in the NFL. They only had 675 yards before contact. That was also the second lowest in the NFL. It's easy to picture what happened. Defenses were clamping down on Najee Harris. There was no threat to threaten the outside. Ben Roethlisberger had to get the ball out of his hands. Oftentimes that was to Deontay Johnson. Chase Claypool's role vanished in the offense. And then the injury to Juju Smith-Schuster left them without depth to rely on through the wide receiver core. The exciting thing is they look to be back to those days of the Killer Bees offense, where we talk about Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown being staples in fantasy production. Najee Harris was a clear bell cow last year. His 307 attempts finished second in the NFL, and his 94 targets led all running backs in the NFL. They're going to get him the ball. Antonio Brown, going back from 2013 to 2018, his lowest finish was wide receiver 3 for that 6-year stretch. During that stretch, he averaged 171 targets per year. Last year, Deontay Johnson had 169 targets, so he's right there at that number. They want to use these guys just like they used Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown for so long, for so much success. The problem comes down to the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger was a shell of himself last year. We all knew it as football fans watching it. Everybody in the league knew it. There was no threat from him to extend defenses and threaten defenses down the field. Chase Claypool was really the only guy they tried to get down the field. His 11.3 air yards per attempt, ranked him right there with Darnell Mooney, with Hollywood Brown, with these players that they see stretching the field vertically. But he only had 2.4 yards of separation, which was not far off from Kenny Galladay's 1.7, worst in the league. They really couldn't get him the ball. Now, Mitch Trubisky is brought in as the new hope, but there's the rub. So last year, Ben Roethlisberger had 64.5% completion percentage. Mitch Trubisky's career completion percentage is 64.1. Last year, Ben Roethlisberger's passer rating was 86.8. Mitch Trubisky's career passer rating is 87. Last year, Ben Roethlisberger, average air yards per attempt, 6.17. Mitch Trubisky, 6.45. Touchdowns per game, Ben Roethlisberger, 1.4. Mitch Trubisky, 1.1. The reality is Mitch Trubisky's career stacks up pretty comparably to what Ben Roethlisberger put on the field last year. Now, Mitch Trubisky does bring the added element of a rushing game. We haven't seen that over the last couple of years of his career. He started out averaging about 26 yards per game, and that dropped to 13 after he got injured at the end of his second season. That really disappeared out of his game. If he's able to bring that could help an offensive line that has gone out and made some additions this offseason, adding James Daniels in free agency, making him the 13th highest paid guard in the league. But there are question marks that abound throughout the entire offensive line. Circling back to the main question, will the Steelers draft Malik Willis? They can't afford not to. They saw Deshaun Watson added within their division. They know that they are playing 6 games against Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow every season. And that's in an AFC where they're going to see Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, or Russell Wilson if they make it to the playoffs. This is a franchise that does not accept losing. Their last losing season was 2003 when they went 6-10. The end of that season, they added Ben Roethlisberger. They are dedicated to making a change. And the versatility And the ability for Malik Willis to threaten the edge and change the equation in defenses is sorely needed. Mike Tomlin's made it no secret how much that he values Malik Willis in this draft. And this is an organization that they're not afraid to tip their cards prior to the draft. When they wanted Devin Bush, there was no secret about it. They went up and traded up and got him. You look at this draft upcoming on Thursday, and so many teams have voiced desires to move back in the draft. Pittsburgh, sitting at 20, represents the perfect example, perfect scenario for a team to go up and get their quarterback of the future. Again, will they get Malik Willis? They can't afford not to.